But oh, you beauty! What a head, son! What a head!
Welcome back to Onto the Ball. I'm your host, Scott Nichol, and I'm joined as always by my co-host, Travis Morgan. We're here to preview Manchester United versus Wolves, the Premier League curtain raiser for Manchester United and Wolves, Monday Night Football. I hope everyone's got over yesterday's game where Liverpool beat Chelsea 4-3, Mo Salah hat-trick. Oh, what a game that was, Travis. This is obviously pre-recorded to go and be published Monday morning. Wouldn't it be mad if Liverpool beat Chelsea 4-3 and then we listen back to this? One can only hope.
I know, mate.
But here we are, another season, Erik ten Hag's second season in the Premier League. He's been backed once again in the transfer market. Højlund, Mason Mount,
Andre
Onana, the keeper, and heavily linked with Amrabat from Fiorentina, although that one hasn't gone through yet. Although it might have by the time this airs on Monday morning, so you never know. Travis, how are you feeling going into the season? And more importantly, why have you signed a £70 million striker that's injured?
I feel good going into the season, to be perfectly honest. I think the summer has ticked along nicely. I still think there's some business to be done, especially with outgoings. But now I'm feeling quietly confident. I think the pressure's going to be on us, but at the same time, I think people are just sort of leaving us. I think the expectations on Man City and Arsenal to obviously, well, especially Arsenal to sort of kick on and deliver. They've spent quite a bit of money and have reputable signings like Declan Rice, who was very sought after. So I think the pressure is going to sort of be on them to be City's closest challengers, which leaves Man United a little bit of a, it's definitely not a free hit. Don't want to put it in that bracket, but I think we can, people know it's year two of our rebuild, and people are just looking for an extension of last season. I think you saw moments of Man United implementing Ten Hag's philosophy, and I think last season was about sort of setting the culture and laying down the foundations for where Man United want to be in the next couple of years. So yeah, I think we're definitely backing Ten Hag with the players that he wants. I think in Onana, he definitely wanted a new goalkeeper and a striker. And like you said, I'm sure we'll study Højlund a little bit more detail during the video, but I'm excited. Like, Højlund's unknown. He's got a lot of potential. I've not watched much of him, so I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do in a United shirt. There's going to be pressure on him because that's what happens when you play for Man United. You're always under the microscope, but I'm looking forward to see how he does. The Mason Mount one's the one that I'm obviously most intrigued about in terms of his positioning in the team and stuff, but we'll have to see.
I'm skeptical. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, it's fair to say that I'm skeptical about Mason Mount, yeah. In terms of it being a number 8 in the team. But overall, I'm excited. I'm happy with how the window's gone so far, but I think we can make that window even better.
And Harry Maguire's nearly gone. That's what you're most excited about.
Is it not? I know, like he wasn't playing much last year, back in the last year. He's had the captaincy stripped off him, but I think we just sort of needed to lay down a marker to say that you're not going to be part of the movement going forward. You're not good enough. You're not even good enough to be a squad player. I mean, we brought in Johnny Evans back from the dead, and he's ahead in the pecking order. So I think
but you see, I feel like my head's on the block with this one a bit, because obviously I had a Leicester membership for the last couple of years, and I regularly come away from Leicester games saying the best 2 players are James Maddison and Johnny Evans. He's still got it, and now he's signed, hasn't he? He's part of your squad.
No, he signed
a 6-month deal or 3 months
contract. No, he hasn't signed. They're still sort of undecided as to whether they're going to offer him a 1-year deal. But I expect, I mean, we've been linked heavily with Benjamin Pavard from Bayern Munich, who plays at centre back and also can play right back as well. Bit of a utility defender, sort of in the Timber mold, but a little bit older, a little bit more experienced. But I would say probably isn't as good as Timber. But he's an international, played for years. He's been heavily linked with Man United. So it looks like that deal or Todibo from Nice, one of those 2 deals will get done when Maguire goes the other way. So, yeah, with Johnny Evans, I can't see him getting a year's contract as well as professionally as he is. I can't see him getting a deal.
You're linked with another defender as well as Amrabat.
Yeah, well, Amrabat plays in central midfield, so
yeah, but I'm purely talking money.
I think we'll get 5. Yeah, I think we'll get.
So obviously,
5.
it's been widely documented in the last 5 or 6 days that Erik ten Hag has spent more in 14 months with Man United than Jurgen Klopp has in 8 years with Liverpool. More as in net spend, obviously. I know people are like, come on, Klopp spent 800 million, but he's recouped 600 million. But net spend, Erik ten Hag is getting back to the hilt. And obviously, we've been talking over the summer that I predicted Man United are skint and they won't spend nothing while this sale's going through. They've still spent a lot. They've put some more on the debt pile. That will be proven when the books are obviously published in the last financial year. But Erik ten Hag is getting backed to the hilt. Amrabat, how much is he linked for? Is he like 40, 45 million?
No, between 28 and 30, I think, like 30 million. Yeah, it's not bad. He's had offers everywhere. I think Liverpool have been in from Juventus, a couple of other clubs, but he's holding out for United. I think we're having to wait for, obviously, Fred's departure's confirmed to Fenerbahce. I think we're looking at Donny van der Beek going to Real Sociedad. That deal's a little bit up in the air. They're not sure whether it's going to be a loan, a permanent deal, or whether it happens at all. But he's desperate to play football and he's not involved at United. So I'm guessing somewhere or another he's going to get a move. So when them 2 deals are sanctioned, I think you'll see Amrabat come in. That deal's more or less ready to go. Personal terms all agreed. Fees not agreed yet publicly. But that is an imminent transfer. So we're looking at 4 or 5 signings in total.
The Fred deal's gone through, hasn't it? I've seen his goodbye thing on Twitter. That's only about 8 million, though, isn't it?
Yeah, 8 million.
How much did he sign for? Was about 55 million.
Yeah, it's about 50. Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah.
And then the Harry Maggs. I read this morning that the Harry Maggs deal's stolen. What do you know about that?
Well, that was from a journalist who hasn't got a strong reputation. I think Sky Sports released today that it's still being finalised. What they're sorting is just his payoff and how much he's going to get as a lump sum for his wages to make the difference up on the remainder of his contract. So I think West Ham are willing to pay 100. United have got to make the difference of 90 grand a week or over 2 years, which is about 6 to 8 million, I think. Not sure 100%, but you're looking at around 8 million, I think.
So is it not true that it's stalled because David Moyes is having a mental health check?
I love David Moyes at the minute. Apparently, West Ham are in like preliminary.
Martial now.
Martial as well. Like they're just taking all of our.
McTominay, Maguire, Martial, David Moyes is on tilt.
I've always had a soft spot for Moyes, you know. I've always had a soft spot. But yeah, if you continue to take all of our players, mate, I'm loving it.
Harry Maggs is going to get David Moyes sacked. All right, I'm just saying this now so I can turn it into a short to look back on when David Moyes gets sacked, when Harry Maggs carries on his disastrous form. Can you call it form? Has he been in bad form for 4 years, Travis? And eventually loses his England place. I can't see any sense in this signing at all. But what makes me most furious is you're getting circa £30 million for him. I cannot believe Harry Maguire is going for £30 million. Joe Matip is better than him. He's only a year older than him. I want 30 million for Joel Matip if Harry Maguire's going for 30 million. I bet you can't believe your lucky stars, Travis.
I can't. I mean, I did say that someone will pay for him, more in hope than anything.
You did, and I was saying you were crazy.
Yeah, but Moyes has come up clutch again, mate. Honestly, like I'm buzzing. I really, I really am, because you know I've wanted him out, and
you're rushing the deal through, aren't you?
I am, mate. I am, mate. Like I'm the intermediary, mate, with the agents and everything. So yeah, like you said, I expect that deal to get done. To be honest, I think more for his own personal pride. When I think about it, like there is an argument he'll sit on the wages and that, but for the difference of 90 grand a week to just not play at all for 2 years, at the best of times, it's a long time for a footballer of his status to just not play. Do you know what I mean? Just not play at all, because he's not gonna play at all for United. And And Ten Hag's giving it we're happy to keep him around and that. But you know what Ten Hag's like? He's just being nice to the public. You know, behind closed doors, he's absolutely got zero.
Putting the rivalry to a side just for a moment, which I don't
Yeah.
like to do.
Yeah.
It's almost embarrassing now for Harry Maguire, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
just get him out of town. I know I've done a short about Onana shouting at him, and I know you had different views on Twitter saying that's just what a top keeper does. He demands the best. But it was embarrassing for his first game, was it, Onana, to be screaming at the former captain a few days after he'd been stripped to the captaincy. It was muggy. And I thought it just shows his standing within that dressing room. It's getting embarrassing from a man to man looking at it. I just said, you've got to get out now, Harry. This is embarrassing for everyone.
I agree. And I think as well, when you think about it, like Levi Colwell's going to be starting for Chelsea as well. If he has a great season, there's going to be uproar if Maguire just is on the bench all season again and then starts for England at the Euros next year. Like, it just can't happen, surely. Like, Southgate, I think, is becoming under a little bit of pressure now in regards to favoritism and just playing players for the sake of it. And I think for the sake of his career, he's got to move and start playing football and putting in some decent performances. And I think West Ham's a good move for him. I saw somebody speaking the other day saying that West Ham, apart from last year, they've always finished sort of in the top 7, top 8. They've always been a club that's been like above average in the Premier League. They've never really been struggling for relegation a lot until last year. So I think if he shouldn't be too humble to take that move. I think it's a chance for him to relaunch his career and prove to everyone that he's the player he says he is. Do you know what I mean? Because there's a lot of doubters out there that are writing him off. So it's a chance for him to prove himself again.
But the thing is, West Ham's league position was skewed because they were going for the Conference League.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have. Or all the players would have been not at 50% in Premier League games, but their heads would have been on the Conference League, not wanting to get injured, not wanting to put the body on the line, risk missing a run into a European final. So that plays its part.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have players like Mikel Antonio, Declan Rice, Kurt Zuma, Paqueta, Jared Bowen, and be fighting relegation. You just don't. So, but yeah, I mean, looking at the team yesterday, how did they get on yesterday? Was it 1 each?
Yeah, they drew 1 each away at Bournemouth.
Yeah. I mean, that's not a bad point. Bournemouth done well last season. But when I looked at their centre-backs, it was that Aguerd and Kurt Zuma, I think it was.
Yeah.
And when you look at that, you think, wait, is Harry Maguire going to go there and be fighting for a place in the starting 11? Or do you think he'll be straight in?
I mean, Aguerd is a good player and he's been linked with a move away himself. So it's not a dead cert that he's better than him, certainly. I think Kurt Zuma is in and out of the team with injuries, and that might be saving grace. But it sounds like Moyes wants him and wants to make him the captain. I think he wants to sort of build his team around Harry Maguire. He sees Harry Maguire as that figure, and I know he wanted McTominay as well. So you can see what he's trying to do. I think he wanted the likes of McTominay, Paqueta in midfield, but Paqueta's been linked with a big money move away to Manchester City, and I think he would be an excellent signing for Manchester City. But if you can manage to somehow keep hold of him, have Paqueta in there, they've signed out Nelson Alvarez from Ajax as well with Maguire, and I think the West Ham fans would be happy with those signings, to be perfectly honest. It's a little bit of a project off the back of winning a European trophy. So West Ham, they might actually pull up a few surprises this season if they can get those deals over the line. Spurs have gone 1-0 up, by the way.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, Ramiro header from a James Maddison delivery. Good ball in.
Nice. Surely the last thing Harry Maguire needs right now is to go into that dressing room, be handed the armband, extra pressure from his new teammates, and it all go wrong. That's going to be a mistake.
Yeah.
Surely.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be huge pressure on him. I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer making Maguire captain before a ball was kicked was a huge mistake in itself. So for Moyes to go and follow suit it could make or break his time there at West Ham. So you'd like to think that he probably wouldn't want that pressure on his shoulders. I don't think he displayed any sort of leadership qualities. I'm not just saying that to be critical of him.
No, I agree.
Because I'm trying to give a balanced argument here, but I think he didn't really display any sort of leadership qualities at United. I don't think he led by example at all. I don't think when the chips were down, I don't think as an individual, he responded to pressure very well. He was a person who was constantly on social media, retaliating to fans and got involved in those sorts of things. So I think emotionally, he didn't really have the temperament for a captain. So I think it would be quite a big mistake to make him captain straight away. I think he needs a year of football under his belt. Well, like you said, he's getting older.
Build his confidence.
Yeah.
Like you say, rebuild his career, rebuild his confidence. But that's not for us. All you want is him out the door. It's not for us to give Moisey and West Ham tips on how to get the best out of Harry Maguire. But anyway, listen, this is about the Wolves preview. Man United have fell on their feet again. Wolves have just sacked the manager, or he's walked. I can't remember which one it was. I think he might have walked.
He walked, yeah.
Who was it? Julian Lopetegui. And they haven't employed a new manager yet, have they?
I think Gary O'Neill might be taking over. I don't know if he's got it yet. Look, 1 second.
What, full-time or caretaker?
I'm not sure. Let me just check now.
But yeah, while you're checking, so obviously they've offloaded a load of players. Raul Jimenez has gone to Fulham. Is that right?
Yep.
The midfielder has gone to Dubai.
He's gone to Saudi. Ruben Neves. Adama Traore is also left as well. He's gone.
Where's he gone?
Fulham.
He's gone Fulham as well.
Yeah.
Moutinho's left. Where's Moutinho gone? Did he leave on a free?
Yeah. I think he left. Before.
So it's like wholesale changes. So obviously, the Man United are facing what can only be described as a club in turmoil at the minute. An exodus of players. They haven't signed anyone last time I checked.
Yeah.
New manager come in. Man United are at home. Do you know what I mean? It might be different if it's at Wolves, but Man United have been so lucky with the first fixture of the season. But you've obviously watched all the Man United preseason games, or as many as you can. What kind of starting 11 do you think Ten Hag's going to cook up? And is Højlund injured? Is Højlund injured? Officially injured? He's out.
He's not going to make it. He's in training. He is in training. There was rumours about him having like a scan, and something could potentially develop into a stress fracture if it's not managed properly. But it's just like growing type things. Do you know, like when you were younger and you could have like odds goods on your knees and when you have growth spurts and stuff like that? It's just literally the same for him. But he's in training. He just needs managing a little bit. And I think he'll need a couple of weeks before he makes his debut. I think he's penciled in to maybe be on the bench for Spurs next week, or the game afterwards, Forest at home. But yeah, I think we'll start the team pretty much what ended the back end of last season, obviously with Mason Mount, who's going to play as the 8 now with Casemiro and Bruno ahead of it. The front line more or less picks itself, although Jadon Sancho has had a good pre-season, a really good pre-season, playing in sort of a false 9 role. I think Ten Hag sees him as like more of a central player now, as opposed to a wide player. So there's a debate whether he goes Sancho, Rashford on the left and Antony, or whether he keeps Garnacho in, because his form's been blistering during pre-season. And I think a lot of the fans want to see him keep his place. He's just electrifying. Just everything he does, it gets you off your seat. He's so direct. And if you looked at Arsenal's wingers yesterday with Saka and Martinelli, I think he's sort of in that Martinelli mode where every time he gets the ball, he just wants to make something happen. And he offers something a little bit different to the wingers that we've got. A lot of our wingers like to play off people and link up. Garnacho just gets the ball and he just wants to take people on. So I expect Garnacho to keep his place, Rashford to play through the middle, and Antony on the right.
But Rashford's made it clear he prefers it on the left and sees himself as a left-sided forward.
Yeah.
Doesn't he?
Yeah, I think so. I think it just goes to show how many. I mean, Martial hasn't kicked a ball this preseason.
Is he fit now?
Well, he's back in training, but I don't know how fit he is because I don't think he's been training. So he's out of question for the first game. He's not had enough minutes. So it just goes to show the lack of depth in the central striker positions, which I think it's an opportunity for Sancho to really stake a claim. If he comes on in the game or starts the game through the middle and he does well, it's going to take the pressure off us having to put Rashford through the middle. And I think he can be a good squad player playing through the middle, Jadon Sancho, because we haven't got any other forwards really apart from Højlund. The back line's going to pick itself. The right back's the only question. Shaw, Martinez, Varane, and then who's going to start at the right backs? I personally think we'll go with Dalot, just purely because of his use of the ball, playing at home. I think we'll dominate the ball. So his passing is much better than Wan-Bissaka. So I think he'll play as a result of that. And then Onana in between the sticks.
I was going to say then the only question mark is keeper, Heaton or Onana.
Without doubt, it's Onana. Heaton is going to be, he's actually injured, Tom Heaton, which we've left ourselves in a little bit of a pickle with the goalkeeping situation, the backup goalkeeping situation, because...
Is Dean Henderson still there?
He is still there, yeah. But he was meant to have gone Forest, but they've signed Matt Turner, and he is still linked with Forest, but they're thinking whether it's going to be loan with a view to buy, or is the move off? He might have to go somewhere else. But like, we've sold our other keeper, who was Matteo Kovar. He's gone to buy Leverkusen, and we've got first option to buy him back. So and Nathan Bishop's gone to Sunderland. So we literally have only got Dean Henderson as backup. So the goalkeeping situation is an interesting one as well.
Definitely. Where do you think the game's going to be won and lost? And how much pressure are you going to put onto Mason Mount for the start of the season in terms of what are we expecting from him? Goals and assists? Are we going to start the 007 debate countdown again, like we do with forwards or attack-minded players? Because he is an attack-minded player, which you've been very vocal about, which you don't see him playing in this double pivot with Casemiro. So we're both going to be on Mason Mount watch for the start of the season to see how he adjusts.
Well, this is the thing, like, there is going to be pressure on him to get goals and assists, but his role in the team shouldn't be dependent on that criteria. Because if you think about our Arsenal setup with Partey, Rice, Odegaard, you wouldn't say Rice has to score a load of goals and assists. So it's like the job that Mount's going to be doing in our team should be similar to what Declan Rice is being asked to do at Arsenal, but he's not that type of player. That's why I don't think it fits. But I think eventually, depending on the balance of the midfield and the team, I don't think Casemiro has got the legs to be able to do what like a Partey can do on his own. Do you know what I mean? He's not that type of player anyway. That can get around the pitch. He's never been that type of player. So yeah, Mount's going to be an interesting one.
Do you think this is a Ten Hag signing, Mount?
It is a Ten Hag.
I'm not suggesting anyone's gone over his head, but has he bought him, do you think, to play in this double pivot with Casemiro? Or do you think he's gonna he's got one eye on in that front four you just mentioned?
Well, if you think of how Liverpool played with the midfield three, they sort of played with a 6 and 2 8s, and I think that's what we're trying to do. When you think back to Wijnaldum and Henderson, they're not people that you associate with a lot of goals and assists, but Gini had that quality because he played a totally different role at Newcastle. But the way he was able to adapt to that role under Klopp is something that I think Ten Hag will be hoping for from Mount. But what the difference is, for me, Wijnaldum always had those physical elements to his overall like build, how he was built physically, being able to run. You could never out-muscle him. Do you know what I mean? He was a big, strong boy. That's why when you put him in the midfield, he could do that. Whereas when I look at Mason Mount, physically, he's not really built like that. And that's why when I watched this in pre-season in the Lons game, when Onana got lobbed from the halfway line, in the first half, Bruno was the most advanced player and Mount was the deep lying player. And then in the second half, they switched and it just looked a hell of a lot better. Mount looked a lot more comfortable. When he set his pressing traps, they were a lot higher up the pitch and he was pressing defenders as opposed to trying to mix it with midfielders. So that is something that's going to develop interestingly throughout the season. I think if we get an Amrabat in, we'll play Casemiro and Amrabat, and then Mount might have to move to like one of the side positions to fit in, and Rashford might play through the middle while Højlund's settling in. So yeah, that's what I personally think is going to happen.
I was going to say there, until you mentioned Amrabat, it sounds like you're going to flog Casemiro to death here and increase his work workload by at least double. And at his age, 31, which is well documented for me anyway, that just doesn't sound like a good game plan at all. But yeah, obviously you had Amrabat in there and you're changing the dynamics of not just the midfield, but the whole team. You could even see Mason Mount benched there, holding bench. Do you think?
Yeah, like definitely. I mean, it is a squad game, and Mount's not come here to sit on the bench. He's been made the number 7. He's going to be on a lot of money. He's going to be wanting to be playing week in, week out in the big games for Man United, without a shadow of a doubt. But I mean, when you look at a squad and the teams that win the big trophies like Man City, it's not anybody else's job to make sure you're in the team apart from your own. Like, I mean, Man City have got quality all the way through the team, but if Grealish is on the bench like he was on the first day of the season, or Foden's on the bench, or Bernardo's on the bench, no one bats an eyelid. Everyone just says Pep's a genius. He rotates the team as and when he sees fit. And I think that's what these other squads that are chasing Man City have to do. So the likes of Mount, the likes of Bruno, the likes of Eriksen. Like, how much did we rave about Eriksen last season? We've not even mentioned him this year going into the team. We're on about Amrabat, on about Mount, on about Casemiro, Kobe Mino. We've not mentioned Eriksen. He's not going to be wanting to sit out of the team. So it's the players' duty of care to make sure that they're in the team. And that's what you sometimes want in those attacking positions, healthy competition, people wanting to make sure that the first name on the team sheet. So yeah, like I said, bring on the season. I'm looking forward to see who's the hungry players and who wants to be playing.
Let's get straight to it then. Jamie Carragher has tipped Wolves to go down. It's not looking good for them, not signing any players, moving on a load of players, losing the manager. Score prediction.
Yeah, I'm going to go for a comfortable 2-0 victory. United 2-0 comfortable though. Similar pattern to how Arsenal's game started against Nottingham Forest yesterday. I thought Forest had a good shape for the first 20 minutes. And then once the first goal went in, I thought it could have been any scoreline. It could have been 3, 4s and 5s. And I think we'll do that. I think it will take us about 15 minutes to warm into the game. I think we'll get the goal. And then I think we'll get a second. And then I'm not saying we'll take our foot off the gas, but I think we'll just huff and puff second half. I don't think Wolves will really look like scoring in the game. And I think we'll just run out comfortable 2-0 winners, to be fair. Nice, comfy start. Hopefully get no injuries. Few minutes under people's belts and we can make a few substitutions. I'm just looking for a nice routine night at Old Trafford. That's exactly what I want, brother.
Well, we're planning on going live for at least the second half. So if anyone's made it this far, make sure you tune in tomorrow night for the live watch along. It'll be funny if it doesn't go like Trav's expecting. I'll be there. I'll be there to bask in it. But no, I'm going to back you up. 3-0 Man United. I think it's going to be comfy as you like for the first game of the season at OT. Wolves, I agree with Carragher. It looks like they're in serious trouble. Right, Travis, I'm going to watch match of the day 2 for this Liverpool 4, Chelsea 3 mauling goal extravaganza I've just watched. Wouldn't it be crazy if that did actually happen?
Imagine.
But yeah, listen.
It's been a pleasure.
I'll see you in the next one, and let's see what happens to Man United and Wolves. If anyone's made it this far, I really appreciate it. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Cheers, Trav.
Peace.
Header. But Gerrard! Oh, you beauty!